So I was asked by a viewer to make this video on this topic, which is this: which was better, childhood or adulthood? And I've been thinking about this for a while, and I've reached a conclusion that you might disagree with. And here it is. I think that being an adult is better. A childhood, although it was simple when we were kids, it was simpler times. You had fun in simple ways. There were no hassles. There were no real expectations. You just had to be a kid and do your homework and, go outside and play and do your chores. And that was pretty much it for a lot of kids from my generation. And, of course, when you are a child, it is basically, ignorance is bliss. I've always said this, but children aren't fully present when it comes to the mind. They are not yet ripe mentally. They are not fully conscious. Kids usually live in semi-reality. The kids a lot of times daydream. Okay? So when we were kids, life was way easier because we didn't have to worry about all of the silly nonsense that we worry when we become adults. When we were kids, we did not know anything about anything, and this is why life was so fun. Life was so easy. Life was a picnic, a cakewalk, compared to now when we are adults and we just know anything. We know everything. We know better. We've smartened up. We are awake now. And what we see disturbs us. And what we see, it is extremely boring and dissatisfying and disappointing. When we were kids, we had a lot of expectations and we anticipated that life would get better and better. And whereas now, as adults, we have realized that actually life doesn't get any better, it just goes downhill. After you grow up a bit, you start to notice certain things. The idea is that the illusion breaks, the dream is dispelled, and you finally comprehend certain things which you took for granted. Then you discover that the world doesn't work the way you thought it did. You discover that people aren't who you thought they were. You understand that when it comes to people, it's all about pretending and being fake and manipulation and just taking advantage of people and using people. You understand that it's a whole lot of theatrics. And of course, this breaks your heart when you finally snap out of the dream. Childhood was pretty great because you just lived life. This is what I remember being a child. I just lived life. I didn't have any, I wasn't burdened or troubled or worried by anything, really, because I didn't know anything. And I remember the best times of my life, it was, of course, on the weekend, Saturdays especially, when I woke up really early, and what I did was I just watched cartoons all Saturday. This is what I did. I just watched cartoons, and that was it. That was that. And it was an amazing time. But even though it was so simple, so wholesome, and I guess I was happy in a way, because I wasn't troubled by anything, because I didn't know anything, I still don't regret the fact that now I'm an adult and I cannot live the way that I lived when I was a child. Um, what I'm saying is that if I had the opportunity, I still would not go back to being a child. Mindless and ignorant in bliss. It sounds good. It is tempting, but I still would not go back. In my view, that time has passed. It was great, but I don't want to go back. And it seems to me, I've noticed this, and other people have noticed this, but it seems to me that a lot of adults nowadays they want to go back to how things were when they were children. Because now that people are adults and they have to deal with the BS of the real world, it is a bit overwhelming. It is a bit tedious, repetitive, boring, disappointing, etc., etc. What it seems to me is that now the younger generations are just fed up with dealing with the world, with life, with society. This seems to be the case. This is the symptom that a lot of people, maybe younger than me, maybe a bit older than me, a lot of people are just fed up with everything. And I would say good on them, but they want to go back to simpler times when they were children, because back then all they had to do was just, I don't know, eat candy and play with Legos and just vibe and play with their friends. And yeah, it was wholesome. It was fun. But this should not be the way. And let me tell you why I prefer adulthood. It is this, because even though ignorance is bliss, when you do not know the truth about anything, you just are a happy-go-lucky Pollyanna. You are a mindless fool. There is absolutely no alternative than to be happy when you are a moron. When you are a moron, brainless, the only state that you can embody is being happy, because, you don't know anything about anything, which is fine, by the way. But I remember when I was a child, I remember snippets, okay? I remember episodes. I have fractured recollections. But I remember when I was a child, because of the fact that I didn't know anything about anything, I just interpreted things the wrong way, and it did a lot of damage to me. When, for example, in my family, when my parents were, moody or arguing or just in a bad mood, I assumed that it was my fault for some reason. I don't know why. And I felt bad. And because I didn't understand how anything works, being a child, I made a lot of mistakes. I just fumbled the bag. It was embarrassing. It was pathetic. In my case, when I was a kid, I was just a bit, I don't want to say slow, but my perception was extremely limited. I could not understand most things. And because of that, I suffered pointlessly, which could have been avoided. And I got myself into a whole lot of trouble because I didn't know any better. Being a stupid kid, I just got myself in a whole lot of, I got mixed up in a lot of things that were just detrimental, to myself. But even though, childhood had a lot of good moments, I still would not go back. Because to me, this is how a person should think. Okay, this is what it means to be mature. I'm not trying to belittle anybody or offend anybody, but this is the case that most people do not want to grow up. Most people do not want to mature because being an adult, it's painful. It's tedious. It's just a burden. It's troublesome. You don't really get a lot of happiness or satisfaction or fulfillment, which, it is what it is. Some people can handle that. Some people cannot endure it. And when we were kids, our folks took care of most things. They made us food, they paid all the bills, they made sure we were good, they washed our clothes. We did not have to do anything. And I guess people want to be taken care of. I guess it is a understandable choice, but I think if you are aware of things, that you should just grow up and mature and just accept the fact that things cannot return to how they once were, and you cannot remain a child, and you should not go back. You should not revert to being a child. Okay, you can have fun, you can have your hobbies, whatever, but maturity has to be accepted and embraced. Because nowadays, of course, we have a lot of adults who, let's just say, are still stuck in their childish ways. They suffer from nostalgia and they want to feel something again that is true. So therefore, they occupy themselves with activities that are, I would say, a bit childish, which is they play with Legos and they still, jerk off to Star Wars or Star Trek. I don't know. I don't want to, insult anybody, but this is apparent to me. That being juvenile should not be a choice when you are an adult. That once you have reached a certain age, I think that you should follow the natural course. You should not be against it. Okay? And this is the problem, that most people refuse to follow the natural course because I guess life is scary. The future is uncertain, and people want to be comfortable, and they want to stay where it is convenient. When we were children, it was so comfortable, it was so safe. We didn't have to worry about anything. We just had to go to school and get some grades, and we had lunch money or whatever, and our parents were caregivers, and it was a cushy thing. It was a calming, serene situations. All of our conditions were met. We didn't have to do a lot of things, most of us. When we were kids, it was just nice, And as you grow up, you begin to notice that life isn't as amazing as we assumed when we were younger. See, when you grow up, the blinders slowly fall off and your bubble bursts, and a lot of your illusions and delusions, they trickle away. And you understand that you have been spoon-fed a lot of lies. You've been deceived. But, a lot of our parents lied to us and deceived us because they wanted to protect us from the obvious truth that there's a whole lot of darkness and evil in the world. They just wanted to protect us. And I guess that's understandable. But when we grow up, unfortunately, I guess we are on our own. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to provide for ourselves. We have to do all of the things that our parents did. We have to we have to provide for ourselves. And I guess for a lot of people, this is a bit difficult. It's a bit too much. Once you have awakened to the truth that everything is pretty much disappointing and unfulfilling, and no matter what you do, you will get maybe a crumb of happiness, and that crumb will vanish soon enough. It will be temporary. Whatever good feeling you chase and whatever good feeling you attain, it will last a brief moment, and then it will disappear, and you will have to chase another euphoric moment for the rest of your life. This is what being an adult is, actually, for most people. Most people keep on chasing another little bliss, another bliss, and they always get disappointed, and they have to chase something else, another thrill, something to tickle them just right. But some of us understand that, try as you might, generally speaking, you cannot really be happy in life after you've grown up. At best, as an adult, you can be at peace. You can be tranquil. You can be just balanced and appreciate the little things that you have. Because when we were kids, we just dreamed, and we had ambitions, and we thought we were going to do things, and we had goals and aims, and we thought we were going to go on a quest, and we thought life is an adventure, and we thought that everything would be at our disposal, and, etc., etc. But this is not the case. We were just naive children. We were innocent. Because real life will just beat your ass constantly. In real life, as an adult, you can barely make enough money to pay all of your bills and then get some food. And that's pretty much it. And maybe if you're lucky, you can find somebody to share, your life and be loved and love that person that is extremely rare to have a genuine relationship with somebody. If you do have an authentic relationship with somebody, then you are extremely lucky, and I'm mad jelly. I'm extremely envious. But even when it comes to romance, we thought that we thought that we were gonna find somebody that would love us for who we really are. And of course, even this illusion has evaporated, because we understand that most people are selfish and narcissistic, and it is far better to be alone than to just waste your time on people who do not care about you. We thought when we were kids that our friends would be with us forever. And we thought that they would help us and we would help them. And of course, they have all scattered and our friends have abandoned us. And we thought that, our parents would have our back, and we thought our parents would teach us certain things about life. And we thought that our parents would coach us and be a sort of guide, for us to thrive and to avoid suffering as much as possible. But in most cases, of course, our parents, after we reached the age of 18, our parents told us to, get a goddamn job and pay those bills, you goddamn bum. And most parents are satisfied with their kids just getting a minimum wage job, and this is how uh, you know, this is the great tragedy of just growing up, because even though, you know, we were told that, if you learn, if you study, if you do all the right moves, and if you go to college and et cetera, you will get a good job. But of course, after you graduate, you understand that it isn't so, and you can barely get a minimum wage job nowadays. And so, another illusion is shattered, and you understand that basically there is no real hope. It isn't really viable to be an optimist and to be hopeful. You just have to, live to the best of your abilities and just be thankful and grateful for whatever you have. And most of all, because we have all been in this position when we were ungrateful and just, just whining and bitching and complaining about this or that. And it's understandable. But now that I'm older, I am just so thankful and grateful for the fact that I am not in extremely excruciating pain right now. I appreciate this, even though I do not have insane amounts of money or things or prospects. I am very serene because I am not suffering right now, physically or otherwise. I don't really have, serious health problems, which is great. Because I always say this, it could have been much worse, much, much worse. Whatever I went through that I thought that I thought was just hell on earth, let me tell you, it could have been a million times worse. And I'm just so relieved that I get to live a pretty calm and quiet and peaceful life in solitude. I'm extremely grateful. But even though when I was younger, I had all of these impressions that I would live a superb, magnificent life, a lot of my dreams and a lot of my ambitions, they did not come to pass. And I am not living the type of life that I thought I would live when I was younger. Even though this is the case, it doesn't bother me because, this is the type of thinking that comes when you engage in maturity. When you are mature, you just accept certain things and you do not become hysterical. Okay? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Most of the times, you do not get exactly what you want. So a lot of the times you will be disappointed. And I guess the main issue is that a lot of people simply cannot face the music. They cannot acknowledge and accept this simple truth, which is that for the most of us, we will be disappointed and we will be overlooked and we will not accomplish a lot of the things that we set out to do. We will not be treated properly by other people, our loved ones, etc., etc. We will be insulted and we will be mocked. We will be cast aside. We when we were younger, we thought that we were somebody special. And we thought that we would be appreciated for who we are. We thought we were extremely smart. We thought that we were different from everybody else. And as it turns out, we are just people. And we existed with a lot of preconceived notions and pipe dreams that weren't true. They were not authentic. A lot of people, now that they are adults, they cannot handle the fact that life pretty much is a scam, a joke, a fraud, a charade, that life in general is a waste of time. It is a hassle. It is a chore. Most people cannot endure this knowledge that we're basically just working ourselves to death and we're barely making any money. And, people, I guess people can't handle this. Most people cannot handle the fact that they will not be loved by another. Most people cannot handle the fact that they will be, ostracized or ignored. Most people cannot endure the fact that they will be ignored for the rest of their lives. Most people are so afraid of being alone. Most people are so afraid of just living by themselves. Most people cannot handle silence. Because this is what adulthood is. This is what it means to be a grown-up. Okay? Being an adult means that you are on your own, and on your own you have to deal with life and what life has to offer you. Being an adult means that you have to tackle obstacles and hardships mostly by yourself. You have to take care of yourself. Nobody else will. You have to manage your situation, finances, and what have you. Nobody else will. Nobody will call you up and be concerned about your health. Even if you hurt yourself or are extremely sick, the odds are that nobody gives a fuck. Nobody will tend to your wounds. Nobody will hug you when you are gonna cry. Okay? And I guess this is something that most people, they cannot accept because it's too painful. And I understand why this is the case, why people would rather just be children even though they're 50 years old. I guess. It is understandable. But I, for one, do not wish to go back to being a child because, I was ignorant. I was an ignoramus. I was just mindless. And now that I know certain things, I just feel better. I just feel better knowing that I cannot make the same mistakes again. It is only through suffering that one can learn. It is only through making mistakes that one can evolve. A lesson cannot be learned without suffering, I think. Being an adult is tough. Being an adult is a struggle, especially if you are alone, especially if nobody cares about you. But, your mindset should be, it is what it is. You have to embrace this. A lot of people, they are just so scared. They're frightened. They despair a lot because of this. And it's a damn shame. It's a tragedy. Because I was in those shoes a long time ago, and let me tell you, nobody's going to save you. Nobody's going to come and just pat you on the back and just lift you up and take care of you and just kiss you and just tell you that everything will be all right. You have to do this. This is what it means to be an adult, mature, grown up. You have to deal with everything by yourself. You cannot rely on anybody else. This is what it means to be adult. And it seems to me that this is too much for most people, that most people would rather just be children, continue to be children, and just occupy themselves with childish things, whatever that childish thing might be. And of course, I'm not judging anybody. Everybody should do whatever they want. Everybody is entitled to live how they wish. Your life is yours. Do whatever you want with it. But I think it is more important for mental health to respect yourself and have a bit of dignity. Okay? Dignity is very important. And nostalgia, although it feels good, it should not become a drug. People should not be addicted to nostalgia of childhood. This is why people nowadays still care about Ghostbusters and I don't know what else. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Right? Because of the nostalgia. And this is why people play those extremely retro games, because when they were kids, they just had a blast. And they want to rekindle that sensation. But that sensation, folks, I'm sorry to have to tell you, will never return. It will never come again. Never again shall be. You will never feel as good as when you were a kid. It will never come again. Okay? Your childhood is dead and buried. Let it lie beneath the ground. Okay? Because in life, there are seasons and there are certain chapters. And each chapter has to be embraced. Like the seasons. Your childhood is over. Even though it was nice and neat and fun, and it was so simple and great. Childhood will never come again. And even though you try to live as you did when you were a child, life will not accept this. Life will not let you be a child, because life will smack you around and remind you that now you are an adult and you have responsibilities. You have to be accountable for yourself as an adult. Okay? Of course, I don't wish to sound harsh. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but seems to me to be the case. That your childhood is over and done with. You know, it's over. It has passed. Okay? It has passed. The things that happen in your life, be it good or bad, they happen to you, and then you move on or you don't. Things happen. You know, maybe somebody broke your heart and it's tough, but it happened. It's in the past. Let it go. Let your childhood go. Let all of your traumas go. This is the only way for you to just live life, in a balanced way, harmonious way. To be serene, you have to surrender a lot of things that you cling on to. One of them being your childhood. You cannot go back. You cannot go back and just be happy watching Back to the Future or whatever. It cannot be replicated. It cannot be replicated. Okay? In life, you just have to tackle what is thrown at you with, courage, whatever. Just be pragmatic. It is what it is. Bad things will happen. Troubling things will happen. You will have setbacks. You will have obstacles. This is what adult life is. Okay? A whole lot of annoying, irritating stuff with a little bit of good sprinkled here and there. This is what life is in general for most adults, okay? And it is what it is. You have to get over it. And you have to move on because, of course, we will all be dead soon enough. And the worms shall feast upon our flesh no matter what we do in life. So why worry? Why be so hysterical? That it's not worth it. Okay? It's not worth it. Just move on one day at a time and do not be so captured and obsessed with every little thing because you assume that you should live your best life. Because usually you just barely live at all. And this is the only thing that we can hope for, to just live without a whole lot of suffering. This is what we can do here. This is the only thing that we can do here, and this is the only thing that we should really strive for. To live a life with as little pain and suffering as possible. We can avoid a lot of suffering. This is it. This is it. This is it. The bottom of the bottom truth. Okay? Childhood versus adulthood. This shouldn't be even a question, because the answer is in the question itself. Childhood is over, folks. Childhood is over. It was great. It was wonderful. You just felt so safe, so protected, so secure. Maybe you had amazing parents, and you want to feel that calm and that warmth again. But it will never come again. No matter what you do, those moments will never come again. And this is the simple message. You have to grow up and just move on from those attachments and those memories of the past, because they're over. I do not dwell on the past most of the time, because I understand it's over. It's gone away. It's been washed away. Some moments were fun. A lot of moments weren't really fun. Even as a child, you experience a whole lot of traumatic stuff, and you are put in your place, and it's just a nightmare, and school is just freakish, and some kids are born with a lot of expectations from crazy parents, and even their childhoods are a mess. So, it is what it is. Today, a real problem is that a lot of people refuse to grow up and just be serious and be sober and even somber. People are afraid of the dark. They are afraid of serious, somber things. People just want to laugh. They want to have fun all the time. They want to be entertained. They don't want to think about the hurtful, painful things. They do not want to people do not want to focus and think about all of the sad things that life, gives you, because it is too much for most people. But this is what it means to be an adult. An adult, for better or worse, has to just tackle whatever life has to offer. And usually life has a whole lot of negative stuff to deal. Life offers a lot of horrible things. For the most part, you will be kicked in the nuts repeatedly by life. And it is what it is. It is not pleasant. It is not something that I cherish. I'm not looking for hardships and setbacks, but this is what life is. This is what life is. And as an adult should understand this and accept this. This is what it means to be an adult. An adult has to be responsible, and an adult has to be accountable for himself or herself. And an adult cannot linger in childish notions that if I'm optimistic and hopeful, things will improve. They won't, though. An adult has to be a master of truth. Okay? An adult has to be in control of his or her mind. An adult has to understand the truth about all things. An adult cannot and should not linger in illusions and delusions. Because this is why a lot of adults today are a bit juvenile, childish. And this is why a lot of people simply break down and just go crazy for the simplest things possible. Because they cannot accept the truth that life is a pretty dark thing, and the world is a dark place, and usually you will have to endure a lot of hardships. This is what life is for most people. Okay? And we all have to grow up and stop lying to ourselves, stop deceiving ourselves, and stop lying and deceiving one another. This is key. But that's about it. If you enjoy this content, if you want to support this channel, I have a few books on Amazon. The link will be down below. If the link does not work, you can search my name, Griffith Samsara. Thanks for watching. See ya.